Hello all. It's been a struggle lately to do any videos, mainly because, well, if I'm honest, I've been through quite a hellish few months. I always say that. It seems that things just get crappier and crappier, but I have to keep remembering what a friend that I met through doing videos here, Althulia, who is such a lovely young woman in India that I cherish so much. It's so wonderful to be able to meet people from this and to connect and resonate with other people that are truth seekers and wanting to create their lives for themselves, especially in the uncertain times that we're living in right now. It's been really difficult for me emotionally. Um, I won't really say why. I did a video about 2 months ago on betrayal. It has a lot to do with that circumstance. It's made it hard for me to come back and make any videos. When betrayal happens, um, on the level that it did, sometimes your self-esteem can take quite a big hit. And that's kind of what I've been experiencing. And I look like crap. I've been sick for quite a long time, and I haven't really made any effort to look any different than my natural self. Yay. So, but the message is most important. So, right now, I'm not really caring what I look like. It's what I say that matters and what resonates with you that matters. I wanted to present 7 ways we self sabotage ourselves. I have that written in my phone, so I can't really see it right now, but I can certainly give you a few at the moment. One big one is self doubt. Our thoughts and beliefs that we have about ourselves stay with us in the background, they stay with us in our unconscious, and they tend to create barriers that get between you and what you want to achieve, what you want to contribute, what you want to create, what you want to become. So instead of trying to right now come at you from a teacher student perspective, I'm coming to you just as a real person that's struggling just along with everyone else right now because of the uncertainty that's been happening in our world. But that's not why I've been struggling. I understand that in order for major change to occur on our planet, that we have to start awakening to the toxic paradigms that we've created that are not serving ourselves anymore, are not serving humanity anymore. There's many institutions that have been put in place that have began to crumble now because I think people can see through a lot of the, I won't say, I guess, dishonesty. Um, Not that everything is, but we have to be very careful where we get our information from. And unfortunately, it's hard to decipher what is true and what isn't. And the reason for that is because news cycles and journalism has changed. It's evolved from exposing the truth, exposing, I guess, just what's happening around the planet to promoting agendas. And those agendas normally are victim based, self serving, and ego based. And many of them are people that are very quick to attack other people. And they don't really look very deep into what their motives are about that. Usually it's to call attention to themselves instead of actually creating change. And I'm not saying that in any sentiment of judgment. I try very hard not to judge anymore. Um, I've learned, and I've said this in other videos, that my own judgments affect how I see the world, how I see what's possible for me, and the more judgment I assert towards myself, the more judgment I will assert towards the people around me and the world around me. And I don't want to continue to live that way. I want to evolve and grow and create something with this that's beautiful, even though it's really tiny now and it's been really hard for me to be consistent, to really just share, I guess, my struggle and try to I guess, be really honest and go deep and share what works for me along the way and what hasn't. And I tend to get really excited about something at the beginning. I get very enthusiastic. I research things to death. I have a lot of knowledge on many subjects. And then something happens and I start doubting myself. And I have realized lately that I close myself off because of disappointment, because of unrealized expectations, because of, I guess, many of my relationships transitioning, and I guess my expectations that I asserted towards my relationships and things like friendships. If you put limits on things and you put your own expectations on things and you expect another person who does not understand what those expectations are, and you make them responsible for your joy, or you make them responsible for your success, or you make them responsible for your sense of connection to the world and to source and to all around you, you will be disappointed. Um, I don't know anyone that's had any relationship that hasn't at some point felt disappointed or has felt betrayal. And much of that comes from unconscious fears, things from childhood sometimes, a lot of that actually. Um, and we tend to store those disappointments as toxicity within us, and it creates our paradigms, our beliefs, and that energy, the frequency of that energy that we put out comes back to us, and it doesn't serve us if we are focused on fear, if we are focused on lack, if we're focused on what is wrong with things. Instead, trying to look at things differently and look for solutions, um, trying to be really honest with oneself about how, I guess for me, how I am right now sabotaging myself because I tend to hide when I get scared. I tend to close myself off from people. Um, when you've been hurt a lot, it's easy to do that, and it's easy to stay in that victim mentality. And the more judgment that you have, the more attacking we do towards other people. To It's just on our planet right now. I've said for a really long time that the States is kind of at the end of their reign, just like the Roman Empire. Usually empires last about a 500-year time span if you know history and you study any history. There are many parallels between what's going on in the States and what went on in the Roman Empire and the fall of the Roman Empire. I find things like that very interesting because we don't remember the lessons. I think one thing that we're very naive about, and I'm not saying that we have gotten a gazillion things wrong in this way, but it is true that history is written by the victors, and not like everybody will have an agenda. Everyone will have some sort of bias according to their own belief system, and they will present information according to that bias. And if they want to vilify certain people because they are possibly intimidated by them, or there's a rivalry of some sort, and I'm talking about it like more of a political landscape sort of thing like we're seeing in the US right now, and on a lesser scale around the planet, because people are getting fed up of being subjected. They're I'm really thankful that I live in Canada, and I feel very sad for what is going on in the US right now. And I am sending much love, light, and prayers. And my hope is that right now that people, instead of lashing out and going on the attack and fighting against things, what we resist persists. It's just the way energy works, and it's the way our karmic energy tends to work. And I'm talking again in a higher mind type of perspective. And for anyone that is going through a spiritual awakening and the ascension process, which is happening on our planet, and many people are right now, and are going through the breaking of many belief systems, paradigms, many things that we have been told were the truth, or how things worked behind the scenes. We're learning now there was much more corruption and much more insidious intent than we, I think, want to accept, because it's a very difficult dynamic to accept. And I don't want to make this into a conspiracy theory channel. I don't buy into everything. I watch many things, and I try to take, after researching things to death, and I mean to death because I have a lot of time on my hands because I'm sick. So I watch many things that some people would probably think were out there, and I don't believe most of what is said, but I try to find the grains of truth in everything that kind of correlate as you go deeper and deeper into things and learn more about what's going on behind the scenes, who are who the people are that are in charge, what their motive and intent actually is. Just for instance, right now, and I know more people are learning about this, but there's only about 6 different companies that own all the news conglomerates on Earth, which is insane, at least in the States. But we have to remember, when we get our news, it's based on the ability, like, it's presented to us as a way to incite anger, to incite emotion, because then people come back and watch more. The more triggered they are, the more they want to learn more, the more triggered they get, and the more they buy into the hype of things, instead of, because we look externally for answers instead of looking internally where the true answers lie. And I know that's a hard paradigm to accept if you aren't a seeker of spiritual truth, or if you are, I won't say stuck. That's usually how I see it, stuck in dogma. I believe now that every deep religious tradition, that it's more about the similarities and the variables that create the higher mind principle of things than not. Um, that's probably, I'm not feeling the best. I just wanted to get back and say that I am going to be making more content, and I'm hoping that I can somehow bless you and somehow just make you feel less alone. Understand that you're not alone in this. We are all in this together, that we are all feeling fear and uncertainty. But we don't have to stay in that. That there's so much opportunity when things start changing. And it's the people that are most adaptable to that change that succeed. It's the people that stay stuck in their paradigms that tend not to flourish in the long run. So things like online businesses and looking at businesses in new ways, since we can't be as social as we used to, things like that are really great things to start looking into for yourself. I'm trying to do that, and I'm learning rational emotive behavioral therapy right now, as well as many other things for life coach accreditation. And it's a long process. I don't want to offer anything until I really know my stuff. I don't feel comfortable doing that, so it will still be a little bit, and I'm still on my own journey. I'm just hoping that I can just encourage you to say that embracing your imperfections is okay. You don't have to feel ashamed about the mistakes that you've made. You don't have to feel shame in the lies that you've kind of come to believe about yourself, or the belief that you lack value as compared to other people. Things like that make me feel very sad. Status, celebrity, financial success, like really high status financial people, they tend to, and it's just our society, we tend to believe people like that are better than common folk that are just everyday people. they just figured out how to make money, and they just figured out how to, I guess, connect in the way that works for them. Um, and I try to look at new ways of doing things myself now so that I can create my own dreams and create the things that I wish in my life, which is just to serve other people, to serve humanity with the things that I've learned, to help people transcend suffering. Um, that is a huge one for me. Suffering is something I'm quite intimate with, but I've learned to go with the flow of it now instead of resisting it, to dive deeply into it and to really look at why those things come up and how I can transcend them. So no matter how many times I fall away from making videos, I will always come back. It's a process. It's of becoming more fearless as I do them. And that's something that's important to me. It's important to, I guess, share my journey with you as time goes by. Even the struggles and the successes, because I think it's important for you to understand that we all have something that we are really struggling with, that we all have something that's really ugly and uncomfortable, and something that we won't really want to dive deeply into. But if we ignore the things that make us uncomfortable, that ignore what can propel us to the next level and propel us to change, we stay stuck in that dynamic. And I, more than anything, do not want to stay stuck in that dynamic. I want to come out of it, and I guess do so through my videos, and hope that as I do it, it gives you the strength to see that you can do it as well. I'm just an average mother and housewife that lives in small town, Western Canada, and there's nothing. I mean, well, there's something special about everything. I won't say there isn't anything special about me. There's a damn lot that's actually special about me, and I'm not saying that in an arrogant way. I'm saying it in a pure-hearted way. I just understand my strengths. I understand my weaknesses because I've delved very deeply into them. Um, I still have many struggles. My health is a huge one that stops me from being able to follow through on many things that I really want to. I'm trying to get off many prescriptions right now. I've been on opiates for 20 years for chronic pain, and it's been um, very painful. It's been a very painful journey, both physically and emotionally. Um, but I do believe that we choose to come here, we choose what we want to learn before we arrive here, and that this lifetime for me was supposed to be this way, and it's supposed to be um, a lot of challenges in order to learn how to overcome them. Because if I didn't have those challenges, I would still be stuck in misery, and I would still be stuck in many toxic belief systems that I'm not anymore. So that's all I'm going to say for today. I love you all. I very much hope that you are staying safe, healthy, and that you're able to make ends meet. I'm wishing you all love, light, and I will talk to you soon. Namaste. Thank you all. Bye. Peace out.